Okay.
Okay. All righty. We're here interviewing Pat Thorn with Kayla Smith, Wayne Davis. We're all participating in this Guilford History Project. And I'm so happy about this. Pat, I met Wayne like about 3 years ago, and he was interested in the history of Guilford, Willis Carter, and all those good people. And I was telling him about the early families that went to Guilford Church, and that have the descendants that are still in the neighborhood. So today it's your turn. And I'm so happy. I'm just so happy that, you are cooperating with us. First of all, I'd like to let Kayla and Wayne know that I do have a signed permission form from Pat Thorn to do this interview. And now we'll start some questions. Kayla and Wayne, feel free to jump in anytime you'd like. Pat, we're going to ask basic questions. But if you want to go off the cuff, which I urge you to, I want you to, just feel free, just say whatever you want to say. Okay? Mm-hmm. All right, so first of all, let me put these glasses on so I can see. All righty. The first question is, what is your full name and were you named for anyone?
My name is Patricia Lynn Thorn, and I was named after the daughter of the lady that my mother was a domestic for. So she was Patricia Lynn Caldwell. I am Patricia Lynn Thorn.
Wow, I never knew that. See?
And my sister is the same. She was named after another daughter, Janice Louise.
Okay, that's very interesting. I never knew that. See?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, where were you born and where did you grow up?
I was born at University of Maryland Hospital in 1956. Medicare year. I turned 65 this year. And I grew up in the Guilford community. I lived on Cartersville Road until I was 9. And then we moved on to Guilford Road. And I lived there until I left to go to college in 1974.
Oh, wow. Mm-hmm. Okay, when and how did your family come to Guilford?
They've always been in Guilford. My father's family is actually from Western Howard County, but my mother's family, they lived in I guess you would call it Savage now, but I think back then it may have been Guilford, but it's down on Guilford Road, like that little park with that bridge. They lived back, there's a house back where that bridge was, and they lived there. And
what bridge are you talking about?
It's on Guilford Road, like when you go down Guilford Road and then you turn like you're going to King's Contrivance. If you look, there's a little park right there on the left. I don't know if you've ever seen it.
That's Wayne. Yeah, I know Wayne. She's talking about the Patuxent, where the quarry is. That's the bridge she's talking about, Wayne.
Ah, okay.
Right. So my family had a house back on that, where I don't know how my grandfather drove on that bridge. Don't ask me how. And they would tell us stories about how the car would, the wheels would get caught while he was going, but they got through there. That's where they lived.
Wow. Yeah, Wayne has done a lot of research on that bridge.
Okay.
And he's been trying to get that nominated as a historical site.
Okay.
And that's amazing that you said your grandfather lived back there.
My great-grandfather.
Wow. And
So,
your great grandfather was a Thorn.
no, Willie Kelly.
Oh, a
William
Kelly.
Kelly. Yeah, this is
Oh,
my
okay.
grandmother's father and mother. That's who lived, they lived back there. So
Oh, okay.
my father's family is from Western Howard County. My mother's family is from Guilford. And
So
so my mother's family lived back there. And so my
the Kelly.
grandmother and my mother lived there.
Okay.
Mhm.
Oh, I see.
And your mother's maiden name was?
Kelly.
It was Kelly. Okay.
Yeah, my mother and my grandmother maiden names were Kelly.
Okay.
So the Kellys.
She had, you know, and I don't guess this is important, but she had my mother as a teenager. So,
Oh, okay.
you know, so did Kelly.
So the Kellys lived back there where the bridge was. Is
Yes. Yes.
that is
Nice.
I think the Kellys and the Fullers. Remember the Fullers?
I remember the Fullers.
Yeah, they lived, I think they lived back there too, maybe.
I barely remember that area. Barely.
I do. I think
Barely.
they do too. Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's interesting. So how did your family make a living in Guilford?
Okay. All my mother's family were domestics. They worked for families.
The Kellys.
The Kellys, right.
Okay.
They all, my mother and my grandmother. My mother worked for 3 families, the Bartons, the Mitchell Clementes, and what's the other family she worked for? Yeah, she had 3 families. Trying to remember that, but she worked for them.
Okay.
Until she stopped working. She was trying to think the name of the other family, but anyway, my grandmother worked for the Werber family in College Park, who actually Mr. Werber used to be a baseball player. And so and he wrote a book and he mentioned my grandmother in the book. So
Wow.
yeah. And my father worked 34 years at W.R. Grace.
And your father is a Thorn.
The Thorn, right.
Right. Okay.
With the E on the end. Thorn has an E on the end.
Yes,
right.
ma'am.
Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he worked there, and he also one of the families that my mother worked for, the Mitchell Clementes, had horses, and you know people could come and the kids could come and ride horses. So my father helped work the stables. He cleaned the stables part-time when he left W.R. Grace.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Never knew that either. So, what was it like to grow up in Guilford? I know you got a lot of good stuff to say about that.
It was a lot of fun. It was enjoyable. It was interesting. Like family, very family oriented, because everybody I think was so close and the families were so close. I mean, I missed that too. You couldn't ask for a better place to grow up. You know, we did, and back then when we were young, you know, there wasn't a lot of traffic, so it was calm and peaceful. You could go to bed with the doors open. You know, you didn't have to worry about locking your car. It was a lot of fun. Yeah.
I agree. We made our own fun.
We did.
Yeah. We didn't need a whole lot.
No. And most of us didn't have a lot. I mean, you know, I don't know. This might not be the right time, but this is when I was born. My father told me that it was extremely hot outside, and they didn't have a fan, so they went to the store, and the man let them buy the fan on credit. It was $20, so he couldn't pay $20 for a fan. He had to get the fan on credit.
Wow.
And he still has that fan.
Are you serious?
Yes, and it still works. Mm-hmm.
Well, Pat's father is what, 92?
Now he'll be 92 March 22nd.
Yeah.
Wow.
I asked Mr. Thorn could be on the interview, but she said maybe another time we can talk to him.
He's getting his shot today.
Oh, is he?
He's getting his COVID shot today. Yeah.
Good. That's great.
Okay. Kayla and Wayne, you got anything you want to ask Pat right now?
Oh, I just, it may come up later, but I was just curious, about just having fun and playing when you were a kid. Did you go down by the river or things like that?
Yeah, we played. Well, we had. I think Joan and I talked about this the other day. We used to play paper dolls. So we would cut dolls out the Montgomery Ward catalog, and they would be the family. And then Joan would have her family, and I'd have my family, and my sister would have her family. And we would cut the paper. We would cut the families from pictures out of the magazine. And we played
simple things.
Love jacks. You know what? I think jacks was one of our favorite things to do was play jacks. We love to play jacks, and we love the jump rope. I think, yeah, we love the jump rope. And we had like little games like 1, 2, 3, 4, stop, red light or something, and all the neighborhood kids would get together. Then we loved to play soccer ball and dodgeball. That was our fun. That was our fun.
Our main playground was the church yard. That was our playground.
Mm-hmm. And behind Guilford School, when we wanted to get on the swings, we had to go over to the school and go behind the school and get on the swings and the merry-go-round.
Well, I couldn't go behind the school. I could never. I was so angry.
I got to go sometime. And remember, the merry-go-round had gotten so bad that you would get splinters. So you would get splinters sometimes for riding on it when it needed to be refinished, But
so what were the neighbors like in Guilford?
Very good neighbors. It was like family. Everybody knew each other. Every family looked out for the other family, and if you saw the kids doing something that they weren't supposed to do, the other family, if they were there, they could say something to you and it wasn't a problem. Neighbors always had something to eat. Everybody, it seemed like every family had a specialty.
Especially your grandmother, Miss Alcindor.
Right. My grandmother was a baker. And so she would bake apple pie, and then my mother was caramel cake, and everybody had a specialty. Miss Alline Holland, she had chicken wings that she cooked a certain way, and we always go down there and get her chicken wings. I mean, everybody looked out for each other. It was like one neighborhood of one big family in a neighborhood.
I remember once, because Pat's grandmother, Miss Alcindor Bradley, she also used to do hair in her house. Mm-hmm. And I remember once Miss Bradley always had a table full of cakes and pies. And I remember once she was doing my hair, but she never offered me a piece of cake or a piece of pie. I was like, I sure would like a piece of that cake the whole time. She never offered me anything. Right. And they look so good. She was the best baker, I'm telling you.
Right. She always made it a habit to take new families under her wing when they moved, like Reverend Yvonne Robinson and her sisters were from Georgia, and they moved to the area, and they were members of First Baptist Church of Guilford. And so, we would have programs after church, and a lot of them didn't want to go home because it was too far to come back. And she had an open door policy, and they would go up and eat. And then they'd bring their friends, and they'd go up and eat. And then she'd feed Reverend Wright and his family, because they lived in Baltimore at the time. And so he couldn't go home to Baltimore and eat and then come back for the evening service. So she had an open door policy as far as taking families under her wing.
Now, Reverend Wright, Wayne, was the pastor that we had before Tyrone. Mm-hmm. Reverend Wright passed away,
2010, I think. Yeah, I think it was 2010.
2010, yeah.
Mhm.
He came to Guilford Church when Doormat Carter Center was
Mhm.
built.
Mhm.
After Reverend Webb left,
Right.
Reverend Webb was the third pastor. Then Reverend Wright came in the 70s.
Mhm.
And I believe Reverend Wright stayed there for 30 some years before he
Yeah,
passed away.
exactly, right.
And now we have Tyrone.
Right.
Yeah. So, Pat, what was school like for you in Guilford, and where did you attend?
We were in segregated schools until I was in the 4th grade. So, and I went to Guilford Elementary, and so I think they desegregated in 1965. I know I was in the 4th grade, so it was a new thing for us, because we always had, it was all black. Everybody in our classrooms were black. Our teachers were black. Our principal was black. So it was a new experience for us. I went to Guilford Elementary till 5th grade. 6, 7, and 8 middle school. I went to Waterloo Middle. Then in 9th grade, which I to this day was never given an explanation, but in the 9th grade, I was bused to Howard High School. Never, for 1 year, got bused to Howard High School for 1 year. It was a very nice experience. I loved it, but it was a long bus ride in the morning from Guilford to Howard High. So,
Yeah.
we didn't have the roads we have now. So, that was a lot. We had to go down Route 1 and then go, And then I came back to Atherton High, where I graduated in 1974.
So can you, because the schools were a little different, they weren't integrated yet, can you, did you have any bad experiences? What was it like transitioning to, a school, when they integrated? What was it like for you?
I mean, it was different. We adjusted. I think I adjusted fine. I mean, we had some very good teachers. They gave us some very good teachers. Um, it's funny. My first year that happened, my teacher was pregnant. She was having a baby, so I ended up with 2 teachers that year, and they both were good experiences. I mean, and I mean, I guess it was different. I just say that it was different. I mean, I don't know any other way to explain it. I mean, we got through. We played. We ended up playing together. When we went out on the playground, everybody ended up playing together. Um, when some of the white kids had parties, they would invite us to their parties. Some of us got invited to their parties. So I mean, it was what was expected in the 60s.
Yeah. So what childhood places in Guilford were most important to you?
The church mostly. We spent a lot of time at church. I can remember I was baptized in April of 1970.
In
And I
that pool?
and no, they took me to Unity Baptist Church in Elk Ridge.
Okay.
I didn't go in the pool. You went in the pool, right? I think
With
you
the
went in the pool.
tadpoles.
I got lucky, and I was taken to another church and was baptized. And actually, Reverend Webb, the third pastor, baptized me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was baptized by Reverend Webb.
Oh, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
So
okay.
that was an important place. And I was telling you about the playground behind Guilford School. I love going back there and just, playing in everybody's yards. Trying to think, it wasn't a lot of places for us to go in Guilford. We didn't have parks, a lot of parks. The park on Carter's Lane.
Carter's Lane, my family had a
Your
park
family
back.
had a park, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if I went back there sometime. I don't think I went back there a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But I know a lot of people, would go there. But really, we basically just played in our yards.
Yeah, because that park backed up to your parents' home when
It
y'all
did. Yes, it did. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever go swimming anywhere nearby?
I don't swim. I
Me
don't
either.
swim. I do not like to swim. No. So I never went to the quarry or any of that. I don't. I'm not familiar with that.
I like the water, but swimming, no, you can miss me.
I think my cousins, my older cousins that are like Joan's age, I think they played in the quarry, you know, and the Abrams brothers, I think they played in the quarry, but no, I stayed away from that area.
Yeah, because I was telling Wayne that there was a quarry on Burger Road. It was a quarry back there with a whole bunch of water. And we used to go back there and hang out like it was a beach. You know, this water, I remember all these rocks and the water would just be gushing.
Right.
You know, it was so pretty. It was very, very pretty. We didn't go back there that often.
Right.
But it was just like, you know, we called it our own private beach. You know, so yeah, but Wayne, do you know about, I think I mentioned that to you before, that water hole on Burger Road.
Yeah, I have to look it up because I haven't found that yet.
Yeah, it was there.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was there. It was beautiful. It was a whole bunch of rocks and all this white water that was, you know, it was just so pretty. It's really nice.
Was it coming from a river? From a stream?
It seemed to be coming from a river somewhere.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I don't remember. Right.
Yeah, it was a huge hole. It was huge. I just remember a whole bunch of rocks and a whole bunch of pretty water. You know, but like I said, we didn't go back there. At least I couldn't go back there.
I was not allowed.
Me either. When I went, I snuck back there. So
the church and back is about the only places I could go.
Right. I could only go on my front porch and wave at the car going up and down the lane.
Right.
But anyway, Pat, did I ask you about community activities that you participated in during your earlier years in Guilford?
Well, you know, everybody was a brownie because my mother was the troop leader.
Yes.
So everybody joined the brownies. When they turned 6, you joined the brownies. And then I think my grandmother was the next level. And then we went into Girl Scouts. And then I stopped after that. I think Miss Beulah Moore was next. I think she was the next level, but Girl Scouts was big. And I know I was a member of the NAACP until I was 18. You know, I was an active member till then.
Okay.
And I joined some things at church and some things at school, but in the community, I think that those were the main activities that I did. Because I was not athletic, so I couldn't play sports because I wasn't athletic. I couldn't join any basketball teams or anything.
No, we weren't good at that.
I was not good at that. But I was a good cheer. I could cheer the team on. That's about it. And I mean, you know, the neighborhood actually had a softball team. Remember the girls had a softball. I think it might have been girls and boys. Remember they had a softball team, and they played the team down long, and you know, different communities would play each other. And I wasn't good at that either, so I just watched.
Oh, okay.
I wasn't good at that.
What stores were available in the Guilford area?
Miss Doormat Carter store. That was the main store at the top of the road with anything from candy to kerosene. You could get anything there.
You said candy to kerosene.
Candy to kerosene. You know, you could get anything there. And you could even take music lessons. I mean, you know, it was the store. That was the store.
Yeah.
And Mr. Henry Moore had a store too.
Yeah.
You remember that? Mr. Henry
I,
Moore.
I
On
remember.
Guilford Road, he had a little store in his house, and he had the best cookies ever. And to this day, I have not found that cookie anywhere. It was about this big. It was the best cookie, and it tastes so good. But those were the only stores that I knew of, that we had in the area. We had to do our shopping in Law. Law was as close as we could go.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Why Laurel?
That was the closest store. Like that, like to do clothes shopping and grocery shopping. That's where you had to go.
Yeah.
We didn't have anything like that here.
Right. Yeah. You talking about Poland's?
Poland's. Yep.
Yeah.
Poland's. That's where we got your I think I wore Poland's tennis shoes. I think we all did.
Earrings,
tennis shoes,
everything.
Earrings, dresses, skirts, everything.
Those shoes were so hard, weren't they?
Yeah.
What about a I hate to ask, but was there a grocery store closer that there was nothing like in Savage?
No, we weren't allowed in Savage.
Okay.
We weren't allowed to go to Savage until I don't even remember what year we were allowed, but we were not allowed to go to Savage. So the nearest grocery store was that giant in the Law Shopping Center that's still there. That's where we shopped.
That's a long way.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm amazed that, I know I'm, going off the cuff, but when you mentioned Savage, I'm amazed that you said you all lived in that area for a while.
Well, the area is the bridge, and I think they called that bridge Savage.
Okay.
But I think when we were growing up, that was Guilford.
Okay.
Right. So technically, that by that being called Guilford, that's why they were all there. But down on Balmerhausen, you couldn't go down there. We weren't allowed to go down.
No. Mm-hmm.
No.
Well, so you're talking about the bridge near the quarry?
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I think they consider that Guilford, I guess.
Yeah, that was Guilford, but I guess as you got closer to Volmerhausen, because I think there was a road back there that took you to Volmerhausen, right?
Oh, okay. Well, we couldn't go there.
Yeah, and I think that was kind of considered the edge of Guilford and beginning of Savage.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
right.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you have any childhood heroes in Guilford?
The Woodsons and the Crafts. They were, they moved into Guilford, but they became a part of us and our community, and they were very successful people. He was our principal. Mr. Woodson was our principal, and when we were growing up and had role models on how to be women, you couldn't have asked for a better role model than Mildred Woodson.
Right.
And Dorothy Kraft. You couldn't ask for better role models. And Mr. Kraft, he was principal at Harry Tubman, and I forgot what other school he was principal, but I would say they were my. I'll speak for myself. They were my heroes.
Yes.
They were my heroes. Yeah.
And mine too, because Joyce is actually my oldest daughter's godmother. Joyce, David, Wayne is the daughter of Dr. Mars Woodson. Mm-hmm. And I called Guilford Elementary School the other day, Pat, and Melanie was there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So I got a call, to do an interview with her, but you are correct. They were our heroes. I grew up wanting to be like Joyce.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Right. Because, they had so much character and, so dignified. And, I was like, I used to go up there and sit on her porch and just stare at her. Like, I want to be like her when I grow up.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And the craft. Right. Remember Miss Woodson, she took some of the girls on a trip to New York. They probably had never been out of Guilford. And, she showed them things, that they might not ordinarily have been able to do. I didn't get to go on the trip, but I knew some of my friends that did go, and it was a nice experience for them.
Yeah, they set fine examples,
Mm-hmm.
for the community, for everybody,
Right.
so because they came from another area,
Mm-hmm.
and they lived in Guilford.
Yeah, because I think the Crafts were from West Virginia, and I think the Woodsons were from New Jersey, I think, maybe.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. I'm sorry, my husband distracted me for a minute. What were some of your family and community traditions in Guilford?
Eating. Big family dinners. We had to have, on holidays, we had the big family dinners, and everybody came and ate. And our cousins, relatives from Baltimore would come down, and my aunt from Virginia would come up. But big family dinners and family cookouts every year during the holidays. And then, of course, the Sunday dinner. You had to have the big Sunday dinner after church. They start cooking on Saturday night, and then we go to church and come back home and have the Sunday dinner. Those were our family traditions.
Okay. What was your religious life like in the Guilford community?
Very active. Even when we didn't want to.
24/7.
We were very active in the church. We were at Sunday school every Sunday. You could not miss Sunday school. You had to be in Sunday school. Even if you went out, as teenagers, even as we went out, you knew Sunday morning you were going to be in Sunday school. That was just automatic, hands down. You were in church on Sunday. Exactly. And I belong to the 80 Web Ensemble, which we both sung in. And they had a youth group. I was part of the youth group. And I think I ushered. I'm pretty sure I was an usher. I think we all probably did that. And what else did I do? I think those were about 3 big things that I did in the church.
Okay.
And my mother and grandmother, they did everything. They were in everything that could be
they did.
Participated in at church, deaconesses, willing workers, nurses guild, Sunday school teachers. They were very active in the church. And my father was a deacon and an usher.
Okay.
So,
yeah, I think they put that spirit on us because we into everything.
Yeah. and still today,
yeah,
in things, it just stayed with us,
Look, retired and then everything.
Exactly.
Jump right into good trouble, right?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Let's see. How were you just talked about your parents and your grandparents being active in the Guilford community and the church. So you just talked about that. When did you join Guilford Church?
I joined in 1970, April 1970.
Okay. What was it at? It was at Dormat Carter?
I joined at the church where the graveyard is.
The second church.
The second church.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was saying to someone the other day that, the first church, we use it as a hall.
As a hall,
remember?
Right.
And I was saying to someone the other day how lucky we are that we were physically in the first church, but didn't even realize it.
Right, exactly.
Nobody ever said this is the first church in Guilford.
Right, we do it as the hall. It was the hall we ate after service,
Yeah, but it was
actually was the church,
the first church. But you know, they turned it into a banquet hall where we ate, and I don't know how all of us got in there, you know, but it worked. You know, one thing about Guilford, they would make things work.
Absolutely.
You know, and we didn't even realize that we were without a lot of things because we had everything we needed. You know, so yeah, it's not a lot of people that can say they were physically in that first church.
Exactly.
That and it hurt my heart really when they tore the building down.
Right.
You know, because it could have been restored. It was only 2 rooms.
Right. And that other room was added on because it originally was 1 room and the second room was added on.
Yeah. So it is what it is. We have pictures and we have good memories in that building. You know,
lots of memories.
It wasn't, you know, it wasn't taught to us at the time.
Right.
The significance of that building, but I'm so grateful that we were there.
Exactly.
Yeah. Let's see. What experiences stand out most in your mind about the Guilford community and Guilford Church? What experiences, you know, you just cannot absolutely forget?
That's a good question. What can I not forget? I don't know, I guess just being a community, just being a community. You know, the church was community. You know, I always equated First Baptist with community. I've always done that because that's how we are. That's how we were. You know, everybody was together. You know, remember? Oh, I know those dinners we would have. Remember on special occasions at the church, and then everybody would come and you sit down in the basement and just break bread. I mean, it was, you know, those were memorable times. Those were fun times and good food. You know,
did everything together.
Everybody participated and bought stuff. It was just, you know, things like that. I will never forget. And then, you know, just doing things for each other and for other people in the community. You know, those things, you know, you will never forget being able to do that. And I guess that's why I like to be active in the church now, because we saw our parents and how were very active. Our parents and grandparents were very active at First Baptist. I mean,
that's all we knew. That's all we knew.
Yes, that's all we knew.
School and church.
So for me, it came natural. You know, I might have strayed away for a little bit, but it came back. You know, right. And I've, you know, been in church ever since. You know, but you know, just the feeling of family and community and togetherness. You know, we were together.
Yeah, we did everything together. Went to school together, went to church together, went picnics
together. We enjoyed being with each other. You know, we just naturally enjoyed. You know, when we were together, we always were laughing. You know, nobody was mad or anything. Like how it seems like today everybody's mad at each other, but
angry.
It seems like when we were growing up, everybody was happy. I mean, you know, it was just fun. You know.
Yeah. Do you know any stories about the Guilford Quarry, the railroad between Savage and Guilford? Are you aware of any swimming holes in Guilford?
The only thing I know about is that bridge. The bridge my family lived on, but I have no stories about the quarry.
Oh,
I don't think I don't think I ever went to it, you know.
Oh.
So.
Were the railroad tracks there when you were growing up?
I think they were, yes. I think those tracks were there. I'm pretty sure they were. I don't know, but I would say they probably were. You know, I don't remember any train coming through. Do you, Joan? I don't remember any train coming through.
The only train I remember coming through was up there where past Carter's Lane, and before you get to Oakland Mills Road, there's some train tracks.
Right.
That's the only train.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. So,
And I think a train at some point did come through there on that particular set of tracks. I have seen a train come on there, but that was many years ago.
right.
I
Yeah.
think it was many years ago. Right.
How were holidays celebrated in your family growing up?
That we get together, big family dinners, and exchange gifts, and things like that. Um, Lots of presents for birthday and Christmas, and we always enjoyed that. And we got to go. This is another funny thing. For Christmas, we got to go to Montgomery Ward's in Baltimore.
You said
And
Baltimore.
yeah, in Baltimore. You know the big tall one, that big tall Montgomery Ward building in Baltimore.
Right.
That was a treat. We could go there once a year and get some things for Christmas. And I remember one time my mother had put some toys in the basket, and I said, who was that for? She said, oh, that's for some little girl down there.
It was
for me. It was actually for me and my sister. But, at the time, she couldn't tell me that that's what it was for. But I remember we would go in there and get our little dress, nice little Easter Christmas dresses. So that was a big thing. And, the only way to go there was down Route 1, I think, because I think we rode down Route 1 to get to it. And it's like if you were riding forever. And we used to pass Calvin Whiskey. Remember the big Calvin Whiskey building, and you'd go by there, on the way to Montgomery Wards. But those are, that's mostly what we did for the holidays, family dinners and.
You should see that building. You should see that building now.
Really?
Hold on, I'm sorry. You should see that building now.
Wow.
I went in there because I was going to plan an event there. I'm sorry, y'all. And now they want to charge $10,000 to rent a space.
Wow.
Yes, you should see it now. It's so much marble in there. It's ridiculous. They have like it's a little city in there. They got little restaurants. I mean, it is magnificent.
Wow. Okay.
We had the nerve to think that we were going to have something there. And then they would like $10,000. I was like, well, God bless you.
Wow. That used to be our little shopping center.
Yeah. What types of jobs were available in the Guilford area during your earlier years of growing up here?
Well, I had personally, my first job in high school was at General Electric, which it's on Snowden River, and it's that building that's next to the shopping center. But at the time, that was the General Electric building. And a lot of us, took that job as a part-time job, cleaning offices. So that was available. And, the fast food places, my sister worked at Arby's down Law, so we had little fast food places you could go work. And my mother and grandmother, they all were domestics, they all cleaned houses their whole lives. That's what they did. And then my grandmother, she did the beauty hair on the side. And then my father worked at W.R. Grace. So I think in a lot of some of the parents worked at John Hopkins back then. Yeah, I think John Hopkins was available and Grace was available. And then construction, construction jobs were big, but the Moore family, they were into the construction business. So that was very big back then. Okay. Construction.
Yeah. And that's still big for them. I think
they still for them. They still do it. Like our generation is still doing it. They currently don't. Yeah.
May I ask what your father did at W.R. Grace?
My father, this is a really good story. My father started there as a janitor. He started there as a janitor. And when he retired, he was a lab technician.
Wow.
He was a lab technician.
Mm-hmm.
And he had only went to the like 8th grade. So, and he became supervisor for a couple years. So that was an amazing story. He was a hard worker. He was a very hard worker. He had worked his way up from a janitor to be put into the lab.
Okay.
Lab technician, wearing a lab coat, you know, with no real education. So I'm very proud of him to do that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Your father is such a wonderful man. I mean, he has not changed any at all.
Right.
You know, he always recognizes you and acknowledges you and just and shake your hand real hard. He squeezed your hand. I was like, oh, my ring is cutting my finger. But he's a wonderful person. Yes. He's a wonderful person. I admire him so much.
Me too.
Because there's not many men around nowadays that have that type of dignity that, you know, you can say, I grew up knowing this person. You know, I grew up and he's still the same person. He's still the same man. You know, so you really are blessed to have such a gem and a fine example for a father.
Right.
You know, you really are a lucky woman.
Thank you.
But because he's very quiet.
Very quiet.
He's very quiet, but he's, you know, such poise and you know, such character. You know, I really like him a whole lot. Are there stories you'd like to share about Guilford life that were passed down from your parents, grandparents, or other ancestors?
Don't think I have any stories, and the one I had, I think I already said. I don't think I have any more, you know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Pat, what do you miss most about the way things used to be in Guilford?
The peace and quiet. I think, you know, everything is always noise. It's busy, everything, traffic and all of that. And I just like the little peace and quiet and tranquility we had back then, you know. The lightning bugs at night, you could hear them, and you know, just things like that. You know, I miss that kind of thing, you know. We could walk down Guilford Road and we could walk up almost a mile before we saw a car. You know, you could walk in the middle of the street, you know, and you didn't have to worry about getting hit or anything, you know. Just ride your bicycle around the neighborhood, and you know, I miss that quietness, that calm, you know, that we had back then. I do miss that.
Do lightning bugs still exist? I haven't seen them. Are they still around?
I don't think I saw too many this summer. I didn't really see too many, but you know, we used to catch them. And
yeah, we did, in the jar and put them in the jar
and put holes in the jar, and yeah.
Next day they'd be just as dead as they want to be. That was
and you know, that was big for us. You know, we were, you know what, back when we were kids, things were so much simpler. It didn't take a lot to entertain us.
Right.
It really didn't. It didn't take a lot to entertain us.
We didn't have anything to be, you know, simple things, you know.
Just simple. I mean, we only had 3 stations on the TV. So, you know, you only gonna see cartoons and soap operas and Lone Ranger and Sky King on Saturday. I mean, you know, it was very simple.
Captain Kangaroo.
Captain Kangaroo. I mean, you know, and Buddy Dean, you know, because when we were teenagers, we like to see Buddy Dean dance show. You know, those are the kind of things that, you know, it didn't take much to entertain us.
You know, I wonder if Kayla can relate to this animal.
Not at all. I can relate to the lightning bug thing, because I remember when I would go to my Nana's house, we would do the same thing with the jars and poke the holes in the top. So I can relate to that. But anything else, I can't relate.
I think it's our generation that did all that.
Right.
those kinds of things, and finding your own, and those 3 channels on the TV, things like that. So yeah.
Yeah.
Right. The
Even,
antenna.
even like things like having a bathroom in your house. You know what I
Exactly.
mean?
We didn't have one until I was 9. You
Mm.
know.
Mm.
Yeah.
My
We didn't
grandmother
have
didn't.
one.
My grandmother didn't get one until the 80s. You know, it was yeah, in the 80s. I had moved away from home, and she was the last one in the neighborhood to get a bathroom.
Right.
Yeah.
And then, you know, we either had a pump, like we had a pump, so we got our water from either a pump or a well, or some families down on the lower part of Guilford, you know, would go to the spring and get spring water, you know.
Yeah.
But it was
Wow.
very good water.
Wow.
What's
Really, really I mean, you know, back then we could eat snow, make ice. We made ice cream out of snow, you know. I wouldn't do that now, but you know, that was some really good ice cream, snow ice cream.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was.
Mhm.
Put some what was it, syrup on that
Mhm.
snow,
Mhm.
and we have a nice little snow cone.
Wow.
Wouldn't do it nowadays.
No, no.
Probably die within 5 minutes. So this has been so much fun, Pat. Is there
Right.
anything that we didn't ask you that you'd like to add right now?
No, I think you pretty much touched everything, you know.
Mm,
I
yeah,
mean, you know, it was just Guilford, you know. If Guilford was an adjective,
Mm.
you would understand. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
It was just Guilford. You know,
yeah,
I know it's not. I'm just saying if Guilford is self-explanatory. You had to be there. You know,
yeah,
you had to be a part of it to
And,
understand
and
what
for
it
so many
meant for
people,
us.
for so many families to still live in Guilford,
Mm-hmm.
mhm.
all these generations, it's incredible.
It
And
is.
believe it or not, I just moved back to Guilford. I live in Guilford now.
Wow.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
gonna log off, guys. I have to go to another meeting. But thank
Okay.
you so much, Ms. Thorne. I really
It's nice
appreciate
to meet
it.
you. It's nice
It
to
was
meet you.
Yes, thank you. Have a great rest of your day. Bye,
Okay, you
guys.
too. Thank you. Yeah.
Do,
Yeah.
do you have any photos of of like the old Guilford school, or a yearbook picture type of thing, or?
What do I have? I got one. Let me show you. I got one picture to show. I got a couple pictures to show you. Wait a minute.
Okay. I hope it's up to school. I meant to ask her that before we got on the call, but you know, I've got 12 arms today.
No, this is great. This is great. I love this.
Yeah, me too. Me too. You know, I can't wait to interview the rest of the families. I have one more.
This is a picture of my mother and father when they were young.
Oh,
When
okay.
I think they were dating. I think they were dating.
Wow.
And Joan, guess where this is in front of?
Let me.
Niz's store. The beer garden Niz's.
Right. Wayne Nisley's was a store back in the day across from Guilford Church, and they had a sign that said colored and white.
And white. So it was a beer joint really, and the blacks went in on one side and the whites went in on the other side.
I think, Wayne, those townhouses that are across from Guilford Church now is where that Nisley.
Right.
Yeah. And this is my great grandfather Willie Kelly that drove across the bridge. That he lived back in that bridge.
Wow.
Get out of here.
Mm-hmm.
What's his name?
William Kelly.
Wow. He's the one that lived down there where the bridge is.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Do you have
that's my grandmother, Elsa
Miss
Bradley.
Elsa? Yes, Miss Bradley. Yes, I remember her very well.
And this is my great aunt Viola Kelly.
Yes,
She made you know what? I'm gonna tell you another tradition that we had in our family. She made gingerbread and homemade root beer every holiday.
Okay.
So everybody would come and get some of her gingerbread and homemade root beer.
Wow. Man, I miss those days. I'm telling you.
Yeah,
I
unfortunately.
miss all of
I
them.
do too. I missed it too. You bringing back memories. I don't think I have a picture of Guilford School.
Oh, you
But
don't?
I live right beside Guilford School, which is really cool. Because when the kids were in, I get to watch them at recess, and I would just think back to when we were at recess. We
Yes.
would be on recess. Yeah.
Right. You remember May Day when we used to have to
Mm-hmm.
wrap that pole and we would get abused if
Mm-hmm.
we didn't do it right?
That was so much fun. May Day, everybody looked forward to May Day. That was fun. That was a lot
Oh
of
my
fun.
God. That
Mm-hmm.
was a big, it was a
Big
big
thing.
deal. We'd be
It
wrapping
was.
this
It
stupid
was.
pole, and if we didn't get the dance right, we didn't get the dance right, they would take the ruler and crack you on your legs.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
like,
but
oh my
we
God.
could, in school back then when we were in elementary school, you could be disciplined. So
Yeah.
the teachers actually had a ruler or stick that they could tap you with, and they did.
Yeah,
And they did.
I was trying to be, I thought I was a teacher's pet
Mm-hmm.
until she pulled me across that table in front of everybody one day and she
Mm-hmm.
beat me.
Mm-hmm.
It hurt my feelings real bad
Right.
because I thought I was it. I'm the pet. I could do what I want.
remember, and the teachers used to visit your house back
Yes.
then.
Yes.
Like I had teachers come and have in other words, the parent teacher conference was actually a conference at your house.
Yeah.
It's not like how it is now. You come to the school and it's all formal and everybody's in the room. It's not like that.
No.
Teachers did come to your home.
Yeah.
It was just like I said. It was just nice.
Yeah. And if you did something in school that you weren't supposed to,
Mm-hmm.
by the time you got home, your parents knew about it.
Exactly.
And they would,
Exactly.
they would discipline you.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be like, dang, I thought you was my friend. You told on me. It's like,
Right.
oh no. Call somebody, come get me.
Right.
But
Right.
yeah, I miss,
Right.
I mean, it's such a good childhood.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, such good,
No complaints.
no complaints, none whatsoever. At the time, we thought that our parents were being so strict on us, but they were just trying to build character,
Right.
And prepare us for the world.
Right.
You know what I mean? So now we are our parents.
We are. Yes, we are.
And our grandparents,
Yeah.
So we have to hold up the bloodstained banner for them.
Absolutely.
And just carry on with what they instilled in us.
Mm-hmm.
But Wayne has done marvelous work on this history. I mean,
Good.
a lot of stuff that he has found out, I never knew.
Okay.
I never knew.
Right.
And it's remarkable. And I'm so happy that, we are partners,
Right.
in this project.
Right.
And eventually we're going to interview all the early families of the second church. Those are the families I'm really interested in.
Okay.
Yeah, because their stories never get told.
Yeah. Did you know my grandfather William Bradley? Because
No.
he died in February of 1956 and I was born in July. So I never met him, but I heard that he was very active and instrumental in Howard County. He was a big part of First Baptist Church, and I'm not quite sure, what he did, but I'd never met him, and he doesn't have any family living that I know of that I could ask stories about. So I was just wondering, did you know him? Bill Bradley. Yeah, my grandmother's husband, Bill Bradley.
Yeah, Wayne, you heard of William Bradley?
William Bradley.
I am not sure, but I will take a look.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Right. Along with the quarry on Burger Road. So.
Right.
Yeah. Well, Wayne, is there anything you'd like to ask Pat? Anything at all?
Nothing more. This is just wonderful. It's just you know, it's just using the imagination, because your story just is saying, like everybody else's that we've talked to about this incredible community of Guilford. And you know, I grew up in a big city, so I didn't experience that.
Right. Right.
But you know, all the other things of our generation I did, but that community is it's so special.
It was very special, yes.
Yeah, it was very special. And
Very special.
what made it special was the closeness of the families, the closeness of the churches, even churches that, you know, visited Guilford Church. We were all close.
We were very close.
Very close-knit community. And you know, we don't have that anymore.
Right, because everybody that lived in Guilford did not go to First Baptist. You know, like my aunt belonged to Hopkins United Methodist. I mean, but you know, like you said, but it made everybody close. It made the churches close. It made the families close. So, you know, that was just Guilford. You know.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to include the Kelly family, because your aunt lived on Cartersville Road, but she didn't go to Guilford Church.
Right.
So those are the families that I want to, you know, include in this project, you know, because the stories, they just never get acknowledged. I think we did that maybe one time. We did those certificates, remember, at Howard High School. And then we had the Founders Day in 1999. Well, you know, it just saddens me that all of this history is right there in that community and nobody ever talks about it. These people that paved the way for each and every one of us. It's very important to me.
Important to me too.
Yeah, it's very important, you know, because we watched them struggle, you know, and we really didn't realize that they were struggling.
You know what? I mean? Well, we didn't, you know what was the best part about being in Guilford? We didn't know we were not well off. You know what I mean? Like my family, we didn't have any money, I'm gonna tell you, but we didn't know that. You know, I never missed a meal. I don't think anybody in Guilford ever missed a meal, because if you didn't have anything to eat, somebody else in the neighborhood had something. So, you know, nobody ever missed a meal.
No.
You know?
No, nobody ever missed anything. I mean, I can remember your grandmother giving me simple gifts, you know, for my birthday, for my graduation. I still have a card from your grandmother for graduation.
Wow.
I hang on to everything. You know, I have so many cards that she would give me for my birthday. You know, my grandmother saved them for me. And when she died, you know, I inherited them. Those things are sentimental to me, and they play an important part in our lives. You know what I mean? I remember once I got a beating for knocking persimmons off your grandmother's tree. Pat, it's been a pleasure.
It has. Thank you for this. Thank you. I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. Yeah.
I love going back down memory lane.
Me too. And I'm pretty sure if I could sit here and think about it, I probably could tell you a lot more. But you know, I think I got the important stuff.
You've been amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. And Wayne, I appreciate you. And you know, me and you, we're gonna be talking whenever.
Oh yeah, no, this was wonderful, Pat.
Thank you
so much.
No, thank you for doing this. I appreciate it. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Okay, well, you guys have a wonderful, safe weekend.
Okay.